They say that adversity makes the man. Well, I say it defines who we are, and it certainly defines my father. As Judge said, he came to this country just barely a teen, and the ship that he was on sank. If that's not adversity, I don't know what it is. I don't know what is. And within a few days of arriving in this country, he was applying for work. And him and my great uncle, when he was trying to get into construction, he had an interview for the job. And they lied, and they told the foreman that he spoke and understood English, which he didn't. And he didn't get the job. So my uncle was communicating to my father that he didn't get the job. And the foreman had told my uncle, tell your dad, tell your nephew that when he learns to speak English, come back and I'll hire him. And my father understood that he wasn't getting the job, and he communicated to his uncle that you tell this guy from Poland, when I understand English, I don't need his job. Well, we're in church, so I have to clean it up. Little did he know that the foreman understood fluent Italian. So he didn't get the job. But we all know what happened after that. So eventually, we know what happened. He ended up getting into cutting hair, and he became very skilled in his trade. He was one of the first, if not the only one, to start cutting women's hair at a men's barbershop. And not only did he get very good at it, he excelled. He won numerous contests. He set a standard. And not only was he good at it, he passed his skill on to many others he taught. And in addition to teaching his profession, he passed his life philosophies on to those that worked with him. Whether they wanted to learn or not, he was going to pass them on. Okay. When my father met my mother, she had 3 sons from a previous marriage. And my grandmother was there, my mother was there, my grandmother was there. We were all living in the same house. Why he didn't run then, I have no idea. But he did. He was a very strong man, and nothing scared him. Okay? He did everything for us. He treated us as his own. Okay? They say, that blood is thicker than water. Not with him. He did everything for my brother Joe. He did everything for my younger brother Mark, who's no longer with us. And it was just amazing. When he married my mother and my sister Gabriella was born, we thought things would change. But they didn't. It got even better. His mother and father became our grandparents. Okay? His brother, Raphael, and his wife, Philomena, became our aunts and uncles. Our cousins, Teresa and Sylvana, became our cousins. And we became a family. And that's the way it was. When my mother was tragically killed, we thought things would change again. My brother Joe and I were about to be married, and we figured he's young, he's got a daughter, what does he need with us? But he stayed. He continued to raise my younger brother. He continued to raise and help my grandmother the best he could. And yet at the same time, he had a business to run and a daughter to raise without the woman he loved so much. And he did it because that's the way he was. He always put others in front of himself. He would always sacrifice himself for the betters of others. What I learned from my father, and what most of us learned from him, and it was so true of him, is his actions always spoke louder than words. By putting his needs in front of those. 2 weeks ago today was a very difficult day for us all. He could barely breathe. And my brother and his co-worker for many years spent most of their day in the house getting him bigger oxygen tanks because the ones that he had been using for so long couldn't support him anymore. In the ER, I lied to my father for the first time. I told him that we have to put a tube down your throat, okay, and they have to put you to sleep so that you can breathe. Okay, I knew I was lying, okay, so that they would make me feel better, and that they had to knock him out. I knew this was against his wishes, but I knew if I didn't do it, he wouldn't survive the night. And the doctor told me, he says, if we do this, there's a good chance he won't come off the ventilator. But if we don't, he's not going to make it. And I knew that's not what my father wanted. But if I didn't do it, he would never get to see his daughter again. And I couldn't deprive him of that, nor could I deny my sister of not seeing her father again. So I told her to do it, and I lied. There's a good part of this, though. Every night in the hospital, we got to talk to him. And every night I continued to lie, telling him we were going to take that tube out. And we did. 4 nights later, we did take it out. But in the wee hours of the morning, we got to talk to him. We got to say the things that we always wanted to say. And I was able to tell him what a good job he did raising us all, and how we tried to do the things he taught us to do. And that was a gift that I don't think anybody could ever ask for. And we were so scared when they took that tube out what he was going to say to us, because this is not what he wanted. And we thought he was going to give us hell when that tube came out. But true to his nature, the first 2 words out of his mouth when he could finally talk were thank you. And that's the way he was. So I'd like to thank my father for raising us the way he did and making us the people that we are today. And there's a song by Josh Groban that kind of summarizes the way he taught us. And it's called You Raised Me Up. And I'd like to sing it for you now. No, I'm going kidding. I just wanted to give my sister a little bit of a heart attack over there. Somebody call a medic. There's a few lines in it and that are very meaningful, and it kind of summarizes what he did for us and how it's affected me every day, because I try to do the things that he taught me. And the first few lines in there basically say, you raised me up so that I can stand on mountains. Okay. You raised me up so I can walk on stormy seas. I'm stronger when I'm standing on your shoulders. You raised me up for more than I can be. And that's what my father did for us. And that's the man that he was. In closing, I'll leave you with a quote from Albert Klein. And I've been using this for the last 20, 25 years as my tagline on my signature, because it was the epitome of what my father has done, always putting others instead of himself. And the quote is, what we do for ourselves die with us. What we do for others and the world